How do you go about manifesting something? I mean, when you have a desire that you seek to materialize, whether it's more money in your business, a particular career, a promotion, a person, what's your step-by-step process? Because more often than not, you don't have a step-by-step process. And whether you realize this or not, manifestation in of itself does have a recipe. And I say this as somebody who has quite literally gone on to sell thousands of books independently and become a top 0.1% independent author in my category. And I also help my clients manifest anything from more money into their business, better performance in their career, close more deals, and everything else in between. And the truth of the matter is, I'm going to give you a step-by-step guide on how I actually go about manifesting things step by step, because sometimes when it comes to manifestation, it can feel like a maze.
How do you
This is the
leave?
easiest maze ever.
How do you leave?
I don't know how you leave, but this is the easiest maze ever. I'm pretty sure it's just like,
That's simple stuff.
but manifestation really and truly isn't a maze, but sometimes it can feel like that because we have an idea of what it is, but we don't really know what to do. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you a step-by-step blueprint. So as usual, make sure you take notes and leave them in the comments.
If you're playing me.
Somebody said they saw you. The person you were kissing wasn't me.
That's dark.
And I would never ask you. Bro said, I just kept it to myself. I don't wanna know. If you're playing me, keep it on the low. Cause my heart can't take it anymore. And if you're creeping, please don't let it show. Oh, baby, I don't wanna know. Yo, he was going through it. Do you know how dark that is? He said he would never ask because he doesn't want to know. You know what's mad? The way man them handle getting cheated on, like, we won't eat. Niggas won't, like, we really will not eat for weeks.
Niggas would lose 5 kg. Not leave the yard.
You know what I'm saying? Curtains closed all the time.
You know that? Ooh.
But no, guys, when it comes to manifestation in of itself, it really is a step-by-step process. And this is the step-by-step process that I take my clients through. And I'm going to give it to you in its entirety as I do everything.
Give it to me, Nero. I'm just saying what you said, bro.
Okay. Cool. First things first. Now, when it comes to the materialization of a particular desired reality, a lot of people lack one thing in particular. And chances are, whether you realize this or not, if you're lacking this one thing, this is quite literally the epicenter. This is where manifestation begins from. And if you don't have the capability of having this one thing that I'm about to say, then unfortunately, manifestation becomes this vague process that, you know, a lot of people characterize it as. Number one, crystal clear clarity. Now, most people have an idea of what it is that they want. Whenever I talk to people, they have an idea of what they want. For example, they'll say, I want more money. They will say, I want to advance in my career. They would say, I wish to be employed. And even though you have a vague idea, really and truly, a vague idea isn't enough for you to materialize what it is that you want. Once you begin to understand how the universe works, and the universe, perfect. One thing that is a necessity, a prerequisite to any particular degree of manifestation is crystal clear clarity. And the only example that I can give that will make sense of this is if you think about your frequency, whether it's frequency, self-concept, state of consciousness, they're all interchangeable terms for the same thing, state of consciousness, or the exact same thing just said in different ways. And the truth of the matter is, your frequency in of itself, think about it like a unique product code. When you order something online, that product has a unique product code, and that unique product code corresponds with that particular product. And when they ship out in a warehouse, which I've never had the pleasure of working in a warehouse, but AJ recommends that I should just take a shift in a warehouse.
Character building.
Just to experience it once. Now, the warehouse stories are dark whenever man. I got a cousin called King. He says that the warehouse aged him. He said he worked 3 shifts. He said he aged 10 years. But anyways, if you characterize your frequency as a unique product code, it has to be unique, because that will, and this is the thing, think about that unique product as a reality. Now, a multitude of realities exist. We can look at it from the parallel universe concept of an infinite amount of parallel universes. You can look at it from a more ancient Hermetic perspective as the all encompassing all particular frequencies or realities, and that aspect of God or the infinite exists within you. So you have the capability of tapping into all frequencies and all realities. But the reality that you wish to experience is a very specific reality, whether you realize this or not. And that specific reality requires a specific frequency, self-concept, state of consciousness, which is a unique product code, in order for them to correspond. Your product or the universal product is reality. And in order for you to get the right reality, you need to have the corresponding unique product code. The unique product code is your frequency, self-concept, state of consciousness. So when people come to me and they have a rough idea of what it is that they want to materialize, they'll say, I want to make more money. But that's not unique enough, because more money could literally be a cent more than you have. And this sounds extremely facetious, but this is how the universe works. You have to have a degree of specificity for what it is that you wish to materialize, because if there's no degree of specificity, then you will get what you're asking for without even realizing it. For example, if let's say you're making $100 a month. If you make $101, technically your desire has been materialized. That is more money, but that's not what the fuck you want. Let's say you want to advance in your career. Let's say you get given more responsibilities, but it's still not the promotion that you seek to materialize. Then, right? And let's say you do get a particular degree of employment, or you start getting interviews, you're still not there the full way. You have to understand there has to be crystal clear clarity on what it is that you want. And if there is no crystal clear clarity, then the frequency that you emit will not be specific enough to correspond with a reality that the universe will then give you. Because the unfortunate part is, when you have a rough idea of what it is that you want and it's vague, the frequency that you emit to the universe is not clear enough. And because it's not clear enough, the universe doesn't register it. And because the universe doesn't register it, it doesn't materialize. And this is really how it goes. So, chances are you've been wanting to materialize something for quite some time. You've been wanting to manifest more money. You've been wanting to advance in your career. Maybe you want more customers, more sales. Maybe you want a specific job title. Maybe you want a particular person that you wish to materialize, a relationship, or to mend a friendship, or whatever it is. But unfortunately, if you're lacking specificity, then you're lacking the corresponding frequency. And that's a bar, write that down. Specificity is exactly what will give you the corresponding frequency. It will give you the correspondent frequency, which will give you the correspondent reality. It has to match. It has to match. It literally has to match. Because conceptualize it like this. Let's say you want to buy a kettle. Let's say you want to buy a kettle. And now you go online, or you say you want to buy a kettle. You search kettle. And what comes up when you search for a kettle on Amazon or something? It gives you a bunch of specific products, because your vague idea isn't enough. You're just searching, but it's not specific enough for Amazon to then send you a kettle. You can't just say to Amazon, yo, I want a kettle. It's going to tell you what kettle do you want specifically, because in order for you to receive a product, you need to have specificity. In order for you to receive a reality, you need specificity. Remember, specificity allows you to register a correspondent reality or correspondent frequency to the universe. So back to the example that I was saying, In an instance where you search for a kettle, Amazon says, what kettle do you want? And you say you want a kettle, it just refreshes the page. You say you want a kettle, it just refreshes the page. And this is something that you niggas have to come to a conclusion of. You have to have a degree of specificity behind the frequency that you're emitting, or the universe isn't going to register it, because the frequency that you're emitting won't be clear enough and it won't be strong enough for the universe to then register, for it to then materialize. Go back to that example every single time. I'd like a kettle. What kettle do you want? I'd like a kettle. What kettle do you want? It's gonna say, do you want Hobbs? Do you want Smeg? Do you want this? Do you want this? Do you want this? Do you want that? And then when you click on that specific product, and then you order it, then that unique signature is emitted into the warehouse, and the universal storehouse, or the fourth dimension quantum field, Akashic records, the temple of God, as it says in Corinthians, or essentially your subconscious mind, your frequency, self-concept, state of consciousness, it will then seek to materialize it. But it can only seek to materialize something that has a degree of specificity behind it. And if there's no crystal clear clarity, then you're not going to be able to materialize it. So instead of thinking to yourself, I want to make more money, how much? Instead of thinking you just want to advance in your career, what is the specific position that you want? Pause. And it all matters. Because if you don't have that degree of specificity, then the universe, the frequency that you emit isn't going to be clear enough for the universe to then interpret and then register and accept and then eventually materialize. Crystal clear clarity is something that people don't even have. And if you don't have crystal clear clarity, then that's almost saying, you want to get to a certain destination, but when you put it in Google Maps, you're not putting the exact location. It's like saying you want to go to London. It's gonna say, where do you want to go to London? Or it will literally take you to the entry point of London, which is an entire city, and that's still not enough. So that specificity is something that's needed. And that's something that you have to ask yourself, have I given enough crystal clear clarity? Have you? But further on that point, in fact, I'll just write it.
You're gonna ride through the wetness. What a nice comment. Nero, whoa.
No, hey, don't hurt yourself.
Nero, you probably already know this, but I just want to say what you're doing is amazing. And you are top of the game. And you are top of the game right now. With your videos and content, nothing of this level of quality is out there, and you're smashing it. Keep it up.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's truly a pleasure. Thank you. Like Lil Baby said, I don't see nobody but me who I'm gonna lose to.
It's a cold bastard. It's a shame you had to fall off.
They remember me for selling weed at my old school. Only hit it once and it was on.
Oh, news.
Look, who the fuck want me? If I get one, you get one too. I really move how bosses move. I never call myself a goat. I leave that up to the people. Everybody can't go to the top. I had to lead some people. Young age, learn how to get money.
Yo, there's a young boy bar, and he goes, I cut off my day ones for the win. That it will never not be funny to me. Ever since the day one memes, switching up on day ones.
No, those memes are hilarious. I remember the light blue one was staying there. But on that point of crystal clear clarity, something that I do want to mention is that there seems to be a tendency whenever I get people to narrow in or zone in on what it is that they want to materialize specifically, they make a mistake. And that mistake is deciding how it has to happen. What do I mean by that? A lot of people, when they seek to materialize a particular reality, they want to have, unconsciously, they want to have so much control. And that desire to have so much control is actually part of the old frequency, getting you to limit the infinite amount of ways something can seek to materialize. Because the truth of the matter is, most of the time you don't know how something's going to materialize, because that how is not up to you. It's to do with the infinite that exists within you. And that infinite that exists within you has an infinite amount of ways of seeking to the materialization of that desired reality. But when you do decide how it has to happen, then you go from the infinite to the finite, which is just a fancy way of saying limited. And then you end up limiting the amount of ways your desire can end up materializing. For example, I was chatting to one of my boys. He was saying to me he wants to manifest this girl. Don't you niggas ask me for an SP video. These are my friends. So I'm just saying this to them when they ask me. He was like, he wants to manifest this type of girl. She has to be like this. She has to be like this. I said, calm. But he was like, the only problem is I live in Miami. I said, what's wrong with that? He was like, well, I have to, meet that kind of girl in a library. Nigga, do you go to a library? No. He doesn't go to a library. So indirectly, based upon the collective conscience, based upon the, I guess, collective ideas or the collective consciousness in what has to happen, he has unconsciously decided how something has to happen. He said it has to happen like this. And because he's done that, he's now limited the infinite amount of ways he can lead to the materialization of meeting that particular type of person. And I see it all the time with people with money. People say, I have to make money this way, without then coming to the conclusion, do you want to make money this way or do you want money? And it's something that you really have to think about, because you don't know the infinite ways that you can lead to an increase in your income. Because somebody could give you money and I've literally heard the craziest of stories, right? But a lot of people decide it has to come through my business. And because they narrow in that it has to come through this, they close the infinite amount of avenues to which things can materialize, and they could end up materializing a lot more money than expected. I was talking to a client of mine, and he was saying that for the longest time, he wanted to make 200K in a month. His business was doing about 30K in a month. And then what ended up happening is that he must have, invested into some crypto and it did 200K. He couldn't have foreseen how that was going to happen. But if he had narrowed it in that it has to be his business, then he would have closed himself from the infinite amount of ways it can materialize. Now, if there is that way that you want to go about it, that's fine. But I'm just telling you, be aware of the fact that we have a tendency to narrow the way things can materialize. And because we narrow the way things can materialize, we then limit our capability upon materializing them.
Nero, I came across your channel a year ago. I felt it was too complex for me. I went back to watching other manifestation content and tried all the techniques. Nothing worked and my reality remained the same. I asked the universe to put me in the right direction and I find your channel again. I'm done with other gurus and coaches and only focusing on your content. Ready to lock the F in and enter my desired reality.
I mean, the reason why those techniques weren't working is because techniques don't work. The only thing that works is you. It's the conviction that you pour into the techniques that actually activates into working. So more important than the technique in of itself is the conviction that you pour into the technique. If you believe that this technique, or this technique will work, then that's what makes it work. Not the technique itself, but you. Each technique is like a different whip. There's different types of whips that you can drive, but if your whip doesn't have any fuel in it, it's not going to move anywhere. And the fuel is the conviction that you pour into it, and that's ultimately what matters. You could have a hoopty, I think that's what it's called. I think it's called a hoopty. In the UK, we call them dingers. Or you can have, a rolls, or you know what I'm saying. So that's what really matters. I'll go back to purple. Now, here's the second part. Here's the second step. Once you have crystal clear clarity on what it is that you want to materialize, that's not really it. Because unfortunately, a lot of people do know what they want. But because they are unaware of one thing in particular, they still end up not being able to materialize what it is that they want. Your desire has to match your conviction, and your conviction has to match your desire. Now, typically what happens is people have these goals that they will seek to materialize. Bear in mind, whenever you have a goal, that's an indication that you're separated from it, because a goal is something that you look towards, and anything that you look towards, you're separated from. So it's not about looking at your goal, it's about looking from your goal. But I'll talk about that further down the line. But your desire has to match your conviction, and your conviction has to match your desire. See, a lot of people's problem, isn't necessarily that they don't know what it is that they want. It's the idea of something that you won't want to admit, but I know. And I know this because I know you. I know you. You don't believe that you can even materialize your desire. Consciously, you may like, no, but I can. Like, of course I can. But you don't really believe that down in the depths. You don't. Whatever it is that you want to materialize, your conviction has to match your desire, and your desire has to match your conviction. They have to be the same. Because a lot of the times, people make the mistake of seeking to materialize realities they don't even believe they can manifest. But how do I know how much conviction I have, Nero? Relax, you're gonna get some. And I'll show you how to work through that. So, what typically happens is this. Now, chances are a lot of people neglect one thing in particular. And the thing that you neglect is the frame of reference from which your subconscious mind perceives your desire. And that's a bar, please write that down. People don't take into consideration the frame of reference from which your subconscious mind perceives your desire. What do I mean by this? One thing that you have to understand is that your subconscious mind has a calibration of normality. Your life has been calibrated into your subconscious mind as this is normal everyday life. Now, if your goal is too big, pause, which bear in mind, one thing that I want to make abundantly clear is that there is no big or small to the infinite. The infinite that exists within you, there is no big or small. A million is the same as a billion, which is the same as a cent to the infinite. Because the infinite has transcended time and space, which means it's not constrained by our limited perception in humanity in categorizing things as big or small, large amounts or small amounts. It doesn't have that particular perception. So the aspect of you, it's not that your desire is too big for the infinite. It's too big for your subconscious mind's frame of reference towards it. What do I mean? Chances are, if you make, let's say, and extrapolate this to however much you're making, if you make $100 a month, and you wish to manifest making $1 million a month, one thing that you have to take into consideration is that this, in terms of your subconscious mind, the truth of the matter is you don't really have conviction in it. And I always take my clients through this. Whenever they say they want to make X amount, hey Nero, I'm making this amount, I want to make this amount. I always take them through this exercise, and you should take yourself through this exercise right now. But you have to say the first number that comes to your head. Now, what I always say to clients is on a scale of 1 to 10, let's say in 3 months, and I always keep it immediate and short. Because if you say to somebody in their whole life, then the answer is going to be very different. But immediately, right? Because the subconscious mind lives in the now, right? The now is the only time that exists. So I always say to them, on a scale of 1 to 10, let's say somebody came to me, they said, I'm making $100 a month. I want to make $1 million a month. That's what I'm seeking to manifest. I've been manifesting it for time. And one pattern that I do tend to see with people is that the longer they've been seeking to materialize something, the more ignorant they are of their subconscious mind's frame of reference towards it. And that's a real bar, write that down. If you've been seeking to manifest something for years, then technically, or more than likely, it's the fact that your subconscious mind's frame of reference towards this is too large for you to collapse into your reality right now. Exercise is simple. On a scale of 1 to 10, how likely do you think you are in making $1 million a month if you're making $100 a month right now? They always say 4. If your answer is not 10, then it's not conviction. If your answer is not 10, then it's not conviction. And then reverse back, we go back, and then I say, okay, what's the likelihood of you making $500K next month if you're making $100 this month? 4. And we keep going back, 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 and we keep going back. And this isn't, and bear in mind, don't hit me with that fake motivational shit. They're like, yeah, I can. Yeah, I definitely can. No. The first number that you feel is the truth, because you can't bullshit the universe. You can bullshit me, and you can't bullshit the universe. And eventually, more than likely, if I say to them, what's the likelihood that you can make maybe $200 next month? They're like, yeah, I know I can do that. See, what you're looking for is something that you know you can materialize. You see, once you know you can materialize something, then knowing is what taps into conviction, because conviction is just knowing. It's not enough to believe that you can materialize what it is that you want. And if you believe, then that's not enough, because belief is only belief because it contains the potentiality for the element of doubt. And more often than not, that element of doubt will begin to germinate and then negatively alter your frequency or state of consciousness to reflect conditions, circumstances that are in direct contradiction to what it is that you want to materialize. So belief isn't enough. What do you know you can materialize? Chances are, increments. And this is what I call building manifestation muscle. And I have a whole video on this, and it's one of the most important videos I've ever made, and people don't really look at it for that particular reason of, well, like, what the fuck is manifestation muscle? But this is something you have to take into consideration. Now, this individual then doesn't have to go to 300, 400, 500, because that would be very long-winded. What you're looking for is an increase in conviction, because the moment that you materialize something, then you're like, shit, I really can do this. And then maybe this individual will have enough conviction in themselves to then say, I can make 1,000 in a month. And when they know they can make 1,000 in a month, then that is when they have the capability of materializing this. And this can be extrapolated to whatever it is that you desire. Let's say you're somebody who's had a series of terrible dates. You had terrible dates. You keep going out with these guys, they're just not it. And you're seeking to materialize Prince Charming, and he has to be amazing, and he has to have all of this shit. But you've been through the absolute mud. You've been through the trenches, dating all of these wayward guys, and they're just on a mad thing.
I said wayward.
Do you know that you could meet the love of your life, the perfect individual for you next month? Probably not a 10. And because it's not a 10, you don't know it. And because you don't know it, you can't materialize it. Because conviction is one of the most important words when it comes to manifestation. Because conviction taps into the etymological origins of the word faith. The etymological origin for the word faith in Latin comes from the word fides. Fides was a reference to confidence. But more important than confidence, conviction. And until you have conviction, and if you really analyze the aspects of your life, anything that you have conviction in, you tend to materialize. And it's because conviction strengthens the frequency that you emit to the universe, making it more likely to collapse into reality. It solidifies your self-concept, your state of consciousness. It literally locks it in. Anything that you know. If you kind of look back at your life and you're like, I know I'm gonna see someone I know today. I know this is gonna happen. I know this person's gonna do this. And you truly know it and you can truly feel it. That's when you're tapping into conviction. Now, like I said, more often than not, your conviction isn't matching your desire. And because your conviction isn't manifesting your desire, you're not able to generate enough strength in the frequency that you emit for the universe to then solidify and register that frequency as something that is real. So your conviction has to match your desire. And your mind is probably thinking, so I have to reduce what it is that I want. Not necessarily. You can increase your conviction in another way. And I'll show you how to increase your conviction. But that is step 2. So after getting crystal clear clarity on what it is that you want, make sure that on a scale of 1 to 10, you know that you can materialize it next month or immediately. And I only say immediately because then the mind, associates immediately with the now, which makes it easier. If you said to somebody, in 100 years, like, come on, nigga, like, of course, you're gonna be like, of course I can do that in 100 years. But let's take into consideration the subconscious mind's operation, which is the now.
Yo, this comment is sick. I just skimmed through it. It says, I have to take my time and write this. So I started following your videos about 3 months ago. I've already manifested a super expensive family vacation.
Super fat.
A super expensive family vacation with no money. And I was able to start a new business. The real crazy part is I manifested a new office completely as I imagined it. The decor, the layout, and even the price was exactly how I imagined it. It took about 6 weeks of holding the frequency and the emotionally charged thoughts. I imagined my wife being super proud of me and hugged me in front of the office daily. I gotta say, it gives me goosebumps just thinking about how accurate things turned out. You have forever changed my life, and I'm a true believer now. That sounds like you're getting roped into the cult, buddy.
Oh, you're into the cult now. You said you're a believer, yeah.
You know.
Now transfer all your possessions over to us because you shouldn't have earthly possessions. No, that's so amazing.
He also said, now that I realize the importance of becoming the version of you that has your desired reality, my 5-year goals has shrunk to the present. Why wait 5 years when I can become it now? Bro,
real.
You need some kind of Nobel Peace Award for this information. Thank you.
Oh, that's real.
Bro said he's a believer.
It's not enough to be a believer. Go back to what I just said. You have to be a knower, not a believer. And that's a bar. Write that down.
You're making niggas rich. Just wanted to share that. I've watched your
Another
videos. Huh? Yeah.
No, cool.
I just watched your I've watched your videos nearly. I've watched all what? I have watched nearly all your abundance /
You
money
jamming
videos.
today. Even I'm jamming today. Even I'm a bit like, blah, blah, blah.
Man, I don't know what it is.
I don't know what's going on today. Maybe it's the excitement from your new iPhone.
I'm not even reading it from the new iPhone as well.
You're
I'm
reading it from
holding
the
it.
old
It's
one.
just
It literally looks like a Google Pixel.
hater. Anyway, I started seeing sales in my business, and I had a promo code with the company for the past 9 months, and I made 30 sales tops. Tell me why I checked it today, and we are over 120 something usages, and they're increasing by the hour.
Fine.
And also watch the manifestation muscle video. I was like, oh my
See?
God.
Manifestation was like, ain't
Yeah,
that crazy that I spoke about that?
I want to make 10K,
Synchronicity.
want to go from 0 to 10, told myself, relax, you got to get some, and I did. Taking the right weight, one step at a time. Thank you. Yeah.
Cool.
Making niggas rich out here, bro.
Yeah. I'm not making anybody rich. It's bringing them to the recognition that they already are rich. Rich is relative, bro. Now, step number 3. So, first things first, get crystal clear clarity on what it is that you want. I want to make X amount of money. Make sure that X amount of money matches a particular level of conviction. I want to materialize this career. Make sure that that desire matches that conviction on a 10. I want to manifest this person. Make sure that the concept of you materializing something has been, for example, in the context of dating, I was just thinking about it. Rather than trying to materialize Prince Charming, why don't you materialize just meeting a good individual outside the romantic context? Because even then, that's probably something that your mind has the easier time of seeking to accept. And then that will then give you the confidence or conviction that you need to then materialize what it is that you want. Now, the hell is that?
Hey, Shmala.
Detention. Detention after school. Detention after school. Hand over your phone. Detention after school. Step 3. Shift your wants to haves. Now, the mind's going to have a natural tendency to do one thing in particular. It's going to get you to focus on the attainment of what it is that you desire. I need to make X amount of money. I need to get more sales. I need to get somebody. I'm getting old. I need to find somebody. I need to settle down. I need to get this career. I need to advance in my career. I need that promotion. Why don't I have that promotion? I need to make this amount of money. I need to do this. You're now going to be conscious with your mind in recognizing that you need to shift everything that you want to something that you already have. And what do I mean by this? To go back to the example that I was just saying, let's say your mind says, I need to make X amount of money, or I haven't made X amount of money, or I want to make X amount of money. You need to internally alter that thought to reflect the thought that suggests that you already have what it is that you desire. So instead of your mind saying, I need to make X amount of money, you then need to consciously shift your thoughts to represent a thought that suggests that you already have what it is that you desire. So as opposed to thinking to yourself, I need to make X amount of money, when that thought arises, and bear in mind, you can't control your first thought, but you can control your second thought. Extrapolate that to the entirety of life. That's a bar, write that down. You cannot control the first thought that comes to mind, but you can control the second thought. So when the first thought pops up and it says, I need to make X amount of money, I need to get this career, I need to get this career promotion, I need to get into a relationship, you then need to consciously shift your mind from the idea of wanting it to already possessing it by altering it to reflect a thought that you would think upon already attaining it. So for example, I knew I'd make X in a month. Don't ask me what that is. I don't know. As opposed to thinking to yourself, this deal has to close. I need to close this client. Like, this deal has to go through. Alter it. I'm so grateful I've already closed this client. I need to find someone to settle down. The streets are treacherous out here. I'm so grateful to be with this person. Because that's the first step. Because naturally what's going to happen is this. As you're entering a new frequency or state of consciousness, you're going to have to expect a particular degree of resistance. Now, I don't want you to interpret me saying resistance as difficulty. That's not the same thing. But naturally, you need to think about it like this. The frequency that you've been emitting, or the state of consciousness, the self-concept, or the imagination that has been solidified into your mind in reflection of whatever it is that you want, has taken root there. And now you're bringing something else in. So now you're essentially kicking this thing out of your mind and bringing something else into your mind. So a natural resistance or residue from the old frequency is naturally going to be within your mind. And that old frequency is always going to allow you to thinking thoughts that isolate you from what it is that you want. Something that's always an indication to what you already are missing. Now, here's the thing. This goes into the annoying law of the universe. You can only have what you already have. 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 Please remember that. Now, that might not make a lot of sense to you, but when I say have, I'm not alluding to some type of physical possession. I'm actually referring to vibrational possession, which is the mental and emotional equivalent of seeking to be and maintain whatever it is that you want. Once you come to the understanding that when you possess it within, then you possess it without, you're just doing nothing more than shifting everything that you want from what you have. But when those thoughts come into your mind that reflect wanting, you need to shift those to having, because what that is going to do is solidify a new state of consciousness, a new self-concept, a new frequency, and that's going to begin to alter what you've been emitting to the universe. So the universe is then going to alter what it's been giving you. And this is one of the first steps to consciously altering your reality. But to consciously alter your reality, you have to be conscious. And the only way you can be conscious is if you're rewriting thoughts that you're having right now and shift them to focusing on thoughts that reflect you have what it is that you desire. But Nero, how do I have? Relax. I'm going to show you. This is step by step. This is literally step by step.
Step, step, side to side.
Round
What song
and
is
round. That's R. Kelly, innit?
Yeah.
Now let me see you do.
Hey, just wanted to share my miraculous progress. I messaged you around 5 weeks ago when my boyfriend went to jail. Hey.
Oh.
Locked up, they won't let... Anyway.
Oh.
After 1 week...
You know when guys say free all the guys? Is he one of those guys that we should say free all the guys, or is he not one of those guys?
You know, like
Niggas
that.
should not be freed.
How long was this guy's sentence?
You know what I'm saying? If I heard my man, if I heard he got a 90-year sentence, then do not free him. Do not free him. I got friends. I don't say freedom, and I got 20 years. It's a mad thing.
After 1 week, I went to the police. I went to police custody too because they wanted to make sure I can't hinder their investigation. I was supposed to be in there for 6 weeks.
This is Bonnie and Clyde.
Track Queen.
Harley Quinn and Joker.
Yeah. I was supposed to be there for 6 weeks at least, but after praying the right way, I was let go after just 2 weeks. My boyfriend was facing 1 to 2 years in jail, which he would need to serve now immediately, but we both prayed together. Man said they doubled up their manifestation power.
It does say in the Bible, where there are two or more gathered in my name, I shall be there.
And now he's getting out in just 4 weeks. Well, in the next 4 weeks.
Wow.
I've been watching the videos every day and I've never felt more connected to my reality than ever. Thank you. I'll be buying the book when it comes out. That was actually way back then.
I was way back then. The book is already out. Outsmarting Reality, Amazon bestseller in all 3 categories in less than 24 hours. Hundreds of reviews, thousands of copies sold. That's nice. That's really nice. She's a writer. That's nice. That's nice. 1 to 2 years. Couldn't have done anything that bad. You know what I mean?
Robbed an old lady. Hey, it can't be that bad, right?
You ain't getting 1 year for robbing an old lady. There's no way.
How much you get?
Bro, if you rob, if I was a judge, you know, every day people make me realize I'm not that far from being an African dictator. Honestly, I'm telling you.
If you robbed an old lady.
In my regime,
Yeah.
100 years. Because why are you robbing old people?
Easy talking.
What? Like rob an old man? Okay, you know, I'll give you 50. But like an old lady, that's 100.
No, I'm sure it's like just probably a year or 2 or something.
No ways.
Yeah.
How long are you sentencing someone for robbing an old lady?
Robbing an old lady. Yeah. What's old?
Elderly.
Oh.
Let's not upset the millennials. We know there's a couple. You know, if you start saying niggas in their 30s and 40s are old, they're gonna be like, oh, not old. So let's say over 60.
Over 60.
75-year-old old lady got robbed.
Again, I think it depends on what's being robbed, but I'll say 10 years minimum. I'll say 10 years.
10 years minimum.
If
your country would be out of control.
If you robbed her
would be out of
and
control.
stole her whole pension fund, go for life. For life. You know what I'm trying to say?
Now, the next step. So, after getting crystal clear clarity on what it is that you want, making sure that your desire matches, then make sure that you've already began to normalize the idea that you already have it through injecting those thoughts into your mind and saturating that with your consciousness. Now, one of the most important and useful things that you can do is this. Emotional generation. Now, why do I say this? People often say that the language of the subconscious mind is repetition, but repetition is a long-winded way of doing things. If you have been through trauma, you only need to go through traumatic events once for your entire mind to be completely changed. Now, trauma is on the particular aspect of negativity, but due to the fact of polarity, the potentiality of the positive aspect of it exists. Trauma, if you really deep trauma, is just an emotionally intense experience that tends to be negative. But if you're able to cultivate emotional intensity, but in a positive side, especially in reflection of your desired reality, then by theory and through science, spiritual science, quote unquote, and having done this and having seen this, this is what happens. So, like I said, the true language of the subconscious mind is emotion. It's not necessarily repetition. And if you have the capability of generating an intense, this guy's taking selfies on his new iPhone. If you have the capability of generating intense degree of emotion behind your desired reality based upon what you would feel upon being in that reality, then you're going to alter your subconscious mind based upon the fact that I said that the subconscious mind has the primary language of emotion. Your subconscious mind will be entirely altered. When your subconscious mind is altered, your frequency will be altered, your state of consciousness will be altered, your self-concept will be altered, then your reality will be altered. Now, when I say emotional generation, don't think that it has to mean euphoria. Don't think that it has to mean excitement. Don't think it has to mean that you're smiling like you've done DMT. It doesn't have to be anything like that. For me, based upon who I am, because this is going to be unique to you, for me, it's just what I call serene confidence. That's me. What would it be for you? Because you are the only one that matters when it comes to materialization of your desired reality. That's a bar, write that down. But if you're able to generate enough emotional intensity behind your desired reality, then what that is going to do is naturally shift you into the state of consciousness of having, which is exactly the point that I was going back. I think that was the third point. Back to the third point. Was that the fourth point? No, this is the fourth point. Yeah, third point. Now, the way that you actually go about doing that, or the way that I go about doing that, and bear in mind, this is what the point that I was referring to earlier when somebody was speaking about techniques. Techniques don't fucking matter. You could literally script, you could literally visualize, you could literally affirm, you can literally do whatever the fuck you want, so long as you have conviction in the capability of this actually being something that works. That is more important. But I'm going to tell you what I do. I'm going to tell you what I get my clients to do. I get my clients and myself to visualize. Now, the visualization process is simple. It has to be simple. It has to be simple. It has to be simple. For the mere fact that a lot of people don't recognize that the mind is a battery. If you imagine every day you are given a certain amount of battery, you have 100%. And the more that you utilize your mind or your imagination, the quicker you drain that battery. We want to utilize as much of that battery efficiently as possible. So when it comes to visualization, a lot of people have these extravagant visualizations where they're overlooking Lake Como and they're with people and it has all of this and they're doing this and they're doing this and they're doing that. That's way too complicated. Way too complicated. Just simply visualize the scene to which somebody that you love is acknowledging. This is definitely spelled wrong. Acknowledge. Yeah, that's definitely spelled wrong. Who gives a fuck? Somebody that you love is acknowledging the materialization of your desired reality. They're seeing it here as something that has already been done. Now, they would comment on it or they might congratulate you. Somebody that you love. So for example, when it comes to making a certain amount of money, it would be somebody that you love congratulating you or acknowledging the fact like, wow, you made 10K in a month, or you made 100K in a month, or you made $1 million in a month, or you made 1,000 in a month. Or it might be somebody complimenting the attainment of that career promotion. I knew you was gonna get that promotion. I knew you was gonna get that promotion. Congratulations on getting that promotion. I'm so proud of you for getting that promotion. It has to have the specificity in the visualization because that specificity is also in combination with the frequency. Go back to number 1, crystal clear clarity. Crystal clear clarity combined with emotional generation, absolutely amazing. And that's what leads to materialization of a desired reality. Because naturally what's going to happen is this. You're not visualizing to create reality. Visualization doesn't create reality. What creates reality is the internal shift that takes place upon you visualizing. Because naturally what begins to happen when you visualize a scene that you're able to stimulate emotion, which bear in mind, when you visualize somebody acknowledging or commenting or congratulating the materialization of your desired reality, then you want to loop that again and 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 again. And the moment you begin to feel like you're straining, the moment you begin to feel like you're tired or like you're like, that's stop. Because naturally, that particular degree, which bear in mind, one thing that I didn't mention is that before you actually get to visualizing, just relax. It might take you 5 minutes, relax, might take you 10 minutes, might take you 15, might take you 20, might take you 30. Allow yourself for your muscles to feel relaxed. That's it. Don't try to time it. Just when you feel relaxed, start visualizing and loop that scene again and again and again and again. And the moment you begin to feel like you're straining yourself, stop. Because the moment you begin to feel like you're straining yourself, you're then going to attempt to use effort. The moment you use effort, that's when you shift your brainwaves from producing alpha and theta to beta, which is conscious, alert thinking that requires you to be active. And that's when you must shift. But if you do that and it's vivid enough and it's clear enough and it's in combination with somebody that you love and they're hugging you or they're high-fiving you and they're fist bumping you and you feel the emotion that you would feel upon being in that desired reality, then you begin to generate that particular degree of emotional intensity, which in this instance is the energetic polarity of trauma, which is positivity, intense positive emotion in reflection of your desired reality. Then that visualization then leads to a shift in your emotion. That shift in your emotion then leads to a shift in your frequency or state of consciousness because it has led to a shift in what your subconscious mind has registered as your reality, which then begins to put you in correspondence with the materialization of what it is that you want to materialize. But that's not enough. That's not enough.
I haven't had one bad day since I started watching your channel.
Aww.
Crazy.
That's so sweet. I've had a lot of bad days while making these videos.
Since I started focusing on what's inside and not what I see outside,
Real.
I haven't had one reason to cry over being a victim of my reality for the past 6 months, which used to be an almost constant for me in the past. Literally out here living my best life, always the same, in pleasure or in pain.
Real.
Cheers. Love from France.
That's a quote from the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna said to Arjuna, the wise are the same in pleasure and in pain. How lovely. staring at me quite intently.
Pause.
I'm just saying.
I'm staring at the board actually.
Okay, fine. Whatever. Number 5. So, after you begin to take whatever process that you wish to take, my recommendation is visualization in the exact same way that I told you, and begin to loop that again and again and again and again and again, and then stop once you begin to strain. That's not enough, because then you'll be no different from the people that go to church and they're on their knees for an hour. Pause. And what I mean by that is this. Oftentimes, a lot of people will pray for prosperity for 1 hour a week and then go spend 12 hours a day in direct opposition to the state of consciousness that they wish to materialize. They pray for prosperity for a short time, but then most of the time they dwell in poverty, which then leads to materialization of more poverty. They pray for relaxation and good times, but they spend the majority of their state of consciousness and their day in bad times. One thing that you need to come to a realization of is think about the visualization itself like a jacket. You put on a jacket, but naturally what happens throughout the day, the more we become unconscious and the more we get caught up in life and whatever else is going on in our day, we slowly begin to take that jacket off and we begin to move like a GTA stripper. You know, you're taking the jacket off, you're like this. And eventually the jacket comes off. But the truth of the matter is that jacket must stay on. But the only way you can keep that jacket on is if you stay conscious of what you've done. So always recommend the visualization in the morning, because then you give yourself the capability of brainwashing yourself before the world brainwashes you. You give yourself the capability of calibrating your frequency before the world calibrates it for you. You give yourself the capability of programming yourself before the world gets to program you. All of that was a bar, write that down. A lot of people try to do their visualizations at the end of the day. That's damage control, because you've already gone through shit. You've already been slapped around by reality. Your emotions have been pulled left, right, center, and then you're trying to do it at the end of the day. No, do it so you enter your day in that state of consciousness, so then your day recognizes you as the individual that you seek to be. Now, it's important that you maintain that frequency. And the way that you go about maintaining that frequency the way that I tell my clients to do it is to pick a single line or a single line of thought that you would think upon manifesting what it is that you want. So, let's say you were in your desired reality and you'd materialized it. What would be a single thought that you would think throughout that particular day? So, for example, if you want to make a certain amount of money, you'd probably think to yourself, geez, making this amount of money is easy. That's something you would think. If you was in a happy, healthy relationship, you'd probably be thinking to yourself, I'm so grateful to be in a happy relationship. I'm so grateful to be in a healthy relationship. If you got that career promotion, you think to yourself, I always knew I'd get this promotion. Whatever line that is, make it unique to you. Pick that single line, and throughout the day, saturate your mind with that thought. When you're brushing your teeth, as you're showering, as you're eating lunch, you're taking a bath, you're watching TV, you're spending time with your friends, you're spending time with your family, you're at work, you're at your business. You're saturating your state of consciousness with that one particular line of thinking. Because to go back to what I said, a lot of people make the mistake of being on their knees for an hour, pause. And this is in the context of church. Of course, they're praying for prosperity for that hour, but then they go spend 12 hours in a state of consciousness of poverty, which then can only seek the materialization of poverty. Because the issue is, even spiritual people are no different from religious people in the way that they treat visualizations, affirmation, scripting as an isolated instance. And then they go throughout the day not dwelling in their state of being in the reality that they wish to be in. Hence why it's important that you maintain frequency, or you maintain your self-concept or state of consciousness through picking a single line of thinking that you would think upon materializing what it is that you want, and saturating your mind with that every single second of every single day. And eventually what that is going to do, it is the more that you begin to saturate your state of consciousness with that mentally, the more you keep that jacket on. And eventually that jacket will be worn for so long that it begins to stick to you. And then you won't even be able to take it off. And then that will be your capability in materializing whoever you want, the amount of money that you want, the career that you want, and getting that promotion that you want. The maintenance of frequency is important. Everybody visualizes, but typically what happens is people don't think the things that they would think upon being in that desired reality. So you have to ask yourself, what would I think upon materializing what it is that I want in a very me-like way? And then whatever that line of thinking is, you carry that with you throughout the day and you saturate your state of consciousness with that again and again and again and again. You literally drum it and inject it into your head again and again and again, and every second of every day. And naturally what's going to happen is the more that you begin to do that consciously, the more it's going to become part of you.
Yo, man. Not sure if you'll ever see this, but I wanted to say thank you for all your work.
What the hell are you doing?
My bad.
What are you doing with the accent? What, you think they're American? Was that an American accent?
Yeah.
Keep going. Yo, man. That's what you said.
I started following you about 4 months ago now and been putting in the work. I recently got hit with having to pay $2,500 in taxes. And instead of letting it control me, I reframed it as a test.
Fire.
And it meaning my business is successful.
Fire.
That very same day, I had a song come out in the game Counter-Strike. I made 13K in 24 hours.
And League of Legends, I used to
I never gave that a go.
Yeah.
League of Legends is crazy that you actually played that though. I gave that a go too. I was
a Riven main top lane. People are gonna search up League of Legends. They're gonna be like, "What the fuck?" Used to play.
Literally.
I don't make sense, guys. I told you I don't. Make sense. I'm somewhere between a nerd, nigga, and God, all at the same time.
But you have chat for Clash Royale. Anyway, I'll move on.
It's a phone game. It's like playing Talking Tom.
Phones are powerful nowadays. I was surprised, but also didn't allow it to affect me. I started thinking about it doing very well and focused on it making 35K. Fast forward today, and we're literally $1,000 away from 35,000. Incredible. If you end up talking about this, please leave out the specifics out, like my name and that. But thank you so much. Also, you should watch. I'm not gonna say that. Oh, it's an anime. ReZero.
I already watched it.
Oh, yeah.
I already watched it.
That's crazy. I was about to say his name before I read out the thing. It would have been crazy.
Yeah, I already watched ReZero. Come on. It's really, really good. Subaru.
I'm going to watch, what's it called? Demon Slayer.
You should. The film just came out. Is this 6 or 7? Whatever.
I'm sure it's 6.
Whichever it is. Now, let me just write out the next ones actually. Because they're more like small aspects to it. Now, number 6, normalization. You need to normalize whatever it is that you wish to materialize, because the issue is you're viewing it like a new pair of shoes that are in the glass window, behind the window. And because they're behind the glass window through your perception that there's this amazing thing that is going to be this, this, and that, you then unfortunately set yourself in motion to be separated from it. Because the truth of the matter is everything that you have, you take for granted. So when are you going to start taking your desired reality for granted? You're probably thinking, what? What do you mean? Well, think about the concept of this. There were some shoes that you once wanted, you bought those shoes, and now you use those shoes to walk around in casually. You don't even think about those shoes anymore, you just put them on. And that's the truest indication of having, because unfortunately, the aspect of human nature, and this isn't to say don't have gratitude, that gratitude is what you're going to feel in when you're cultivating the emotional intensity to materialize it. But truthfully, anything that we take for granted is an indication to what we have. So you need to start taking your desired reality for granted ahead of time in order to be able to materialize it, because you taking it for granted would indicate to the universe that you have, because anything that you have, you take for granted. And I don't mean that in a sense of people, for example. I mean when it comes to certain stuff that you wish to have. So for example, as opposed to thinking, wow, it'd be so amazing to make this amount of money, it'd be life-changing, when you make that amount of money, it's just like, It's just like whatever. And because it's just like whatever, it becomes normal to you. And normalization is part of the next process. So you have to make sure that you normalize your desired reality by reducing your perception towards it. And naturally, the importance that you have towards it serves as space, because importance is interpreted in the universe as energetic space. The more importance that you have behind something, the bigger the gap. Now your mind's going to be thinking, yeah, but isn't the visualization, everything that I'm doing, an indication of importance? No, because the true definition of manifestation, which has taken me quite a long time to say this in this video, but in every other video I say it like nearly at the start, manifestation is internally shifting to a degree to which you're no longer emotionally dependent upon seeing reality change. I repeat, manifestation is internally shifting to a degree to which you're no longer emotionally dependent upon seeing reality change. And the truth of the matter is, the more that you begin to do the visualization process and you begin to shift your wants to haves, and then you also begin to pick a single line of thinking, a single thought that you would think upon the materialization of that desired reality, you're going to shift internally to a degree to which you're no longer emotionally dependent. So through actually doing the inner work, you reduce the importance. We have more importance when we haven't done enough inner work. That's a bar, write that down. Anytime that we have an importance towards the materialization of a desired outcome or a desired reality, it's due to the fact that we haven't generated enough emotional intensity, which has then shifted us to a degree to which we begin to see it as nothing. Because through the generation of emotional intensity, you convince your subconscious mind that you already have it, and your subconscious mind won't want it. For example, my subconscious mind knows there's shades on my face right now, so I don't feel the need to, oh, let me put my shades on. That is not there, because they're convinced by, the subconscious mind is already convinced that I already have that. Next is relaxation. Relaxation is paramount, because the thing is this, relaxation allows for your desired reality to unfold. Because if you think about it like this, if you think about an ocean on the waters, you're both the waters and you're both the boat. This is a great boat drawing. The calmer the waters, the easier it is to get to your destination. But remember, crystal clear clarity is what gets you to the specific destination, but your state of being, how you feel throughout the day, that degree of relaxation is the waters. And the more relaxed that you are, the easier it leads to materialization of your desired reality, because the waters of your mind are calm, which then lets the boat sail easily. A lot of people don't take into consideration the fact that that was bad. He wasn't gonna let me go for that. I tried to look away. I tried to look away from you and pretend like I didn't see you, but there was no way I was escaping that. A lot of people fail to take into consideration how paramount relaxation is. Even if you look at John 3:27, it says a man cannot receive unless it's given to him from heaven. Heaven is that state of consciousness, of a state of inner bliss, peace, calm. That calm, that serenity is paramount to the materialization of your desired reality, because simultaneously, when you're in that particular degree of relaxation, your brain has the association of you being in the alpha and theta state, which is relaxation, which means the door to your subconscious mind is open, which means that you're forever planting into your subconscious mind your desired reality, which then makes things materialize easier. The other is aligned action. Now, there's something that I call the multi-dimensional sequence of events. A lot of spiritual people like to present this facade that you don't need to take action. That's idiotic. Listen to me, it's idiotic. And they're simply just appealing to the aspect of you that is tired and the aspect of you that doesn't want to do anything. But the truth of the matter is, I'm not going to lie to you. There's 3 planes of existence: mental, physical, spiritual. The physical, mental, and spiritual must all be aligned. When it comes to materialization of your desired reality, there must be synchronicity and alignment across all 3 planes of existence in order for things to materialize. So on the physical plane, you cannot live on this physical plane without taking action. Even the very act of you brushing your teeth requires action. But when it comes to your desired reality, it's important that a lot of people take misaligned action. A lot of people take action while they're in a state of consciousness opposite to what they want. I'll give you an example of what I mean here. So, on the lowest levels of consciousness, action leads to reality. This is on the lowest levels of consciousness. The actions that we take are based upon the nudges that we mentally experience. The nudges that we mentally experience is based upon the intuition that we receive. The intuition that we receive is based upon our frequency, our state of consciousness. And the more that you're able to alter your self-concept, state of consciousness, and frequency, as I mentioned in the previous steps, then that's going to have an effect on the intuition. Your intuition is the source that you download from. If your frequency is already in your desired reality, for example, let's say you want to make a certain amount of money. Let's say it's X amount of money. You make you're in the frequency, or you're already making that amount of money. That's the frequency you're at right now. Your intuition is going to then reflect the materialization of that. The nudges that you have internally are going to lead to you fulfilling that desired reality. And it's important that you have the capability of executing upon those nudges, because naturally you're going to do things, or you're going to be compelled to do things that you haven't done before. You're going to be compelled to change the way you've been doing things. It's important you execute upon that, because that's going to lead to the materialization of things, which is then going to lead to you taking actions that you haven't done before or differently, which is then going to lead to that reality. But more often than not, a lot of people, you're going to take action. That's the truth of reality. You're going to take action. But unfortunately, a lot of people take action for a result while they're in the complete opposite, contradictory state of consciousness for that result. No action taken from survival will ever bring freedom. No action taken from poverty will ever bring wealth. No action taken from an unfit state of consciousness will ever bring action of fitness. It's just not going to work. You cannot oppose the multidimensional sequence of events, state of consciousness, self-concept, frequency, that leads to your intuition, that leads to your nudges, that leads to your action, that leads to your reality. So it's about making sure that you're working on the biggest domino, because you're going to take action. You're going to take action. But here's the thing. If you're putting yourself out there to try and go on dates, but you believe that, you're in the opposite state of consciousness of being in a healthy relationship, and you're thinking, it's the streets out here, it's the trenches out here, everybody out here is just fucking terrible. It's just nothing but heathens. It's just heathens out here. Then your frequency is in direct contradiction to when you try to put yourself out on that date, or on that dating app, or you try to link up with that person, you try to do this, you try to approach that person, because your frequency is in direct contradiction to the materialization of your desired reality. And it's ultimately the largest domino that has a knock-on effect on everything else. And then whether you realize this or not, you're going to feel as if the universe is against you when you're taking actions towards your desired reality. And the truth of the matter is, it's simply because you're against you. You wish to have a particular outcome that you're not in the frequency of. It doesn't work like that. There can be no outer changes until there's first inner changes. And the truth of the matter is, you need to already be in the state of consciousness of what you seek to materialize. You need to be on your side. And more often than not, people aren't.
People are not often on their own side.
People often aren't on their own side, no. So how could you expect the universe to be on your side?
Nero. I can't believe this one.
AJ?
Been with my girl for 4 years now.
Oh, this.
And we love watching your content, Twin.
Twin?
We both tapped in on our lives have changed like crazy. Money rolling in, and we're happy. Okay. Recently, she's been dreaming about you non-stop, bro. But she won't tell me what's happening in her dream, which is weird, but cool. She was napping yesterday, and she was moving her waist, talking about Nero. Yes, just like that. I woke her ass up and asked, what the F? But she denied it, saying I got no proof. I don't know what to do, man. What the F? There's an update.
half the stuff, like, whenever I hear things on the internet, you have to think to yourself, it can't be real.
Yeah.
But through talking to so many people, this is really someone's life. This is really someone's life. It seems like a version of me in the astral is just whoring himself out, apparently. So
I'm not surprised.
Enjoy yourself, guys. Make sure you leave the money on the dresser.
Bruh. Update on my girl dreaming about you, deep in her guts. Was talking about what's happening, Twin?
That's just a crazy way to start anything.
Crazy, and that's the first sentence. Anyway. What's happening, Twin? After that moment when she was...
Stop calling me Twin, please.
When she was moving her waist, talking about, yes, just like that, Nero. I woke her up and then she denied it. So I calmed down because she looked scared and I got her to open up. Then she told me that you really turn her on because you're smart and your accent and your good body. And she wants a threesome with me, you, and her. Dog, that shit felt like my soul broke. I couldn't eat. We went out for hibachi. I don't know what hibachi is.
I didn't know what hibachi. I don't know what it was. You know, teppanyaki, that's what we call it in the UK. You know, like when you go to like a Japanese restaurant and they're cooking in front of you. And they do the egg tricks. I think in America they call it hibachi.
Okay.
I didn't know what that was either.
And I just stared at the food. I just couldn't, bro. I can't do that, bro. So that was the last week. And bro, we broke up today because I can't move past it. We manifested so much because of you. And now she wants your meat. Nah, fuck it. We ball, bro. It was only
Bro said, fuck it, we ball. You know he's saying that with tears running down his face.
Literally crying while he's writing this. It was only 4 years. Bro said only. Okay.
Only 4 years?
So now...
This channel hasn't even been around for... Goodness gracious.
So now I'm gonna manifest a new girl and teach her all of this shit without you.
Why are you pointing at me?
You did this. Sorry, I can't go through this again, bro. Not your fault. It is his fault. It is.
They call that victim blaming, AJ. They call that victim blaming. Stop victim blaming me.
I can't believe you're escaping and going into people's dreams.
You say escaping like I'm running away from somewhere.
Running away from reality.
Anyways.
Bro's just living in the mental plane. The spiritual.
Can you shut up?
But there's no consequences. Yo.
The final stage is letting go. Now, oftentimes people talk about the concept of letting go and they fail to understand the actual process of letting go. Letting go isn't some act other than a realization of one thing. And it's this realization in particular. The attainment of your desired reality. You don't want your desired reality for no other reason than it being a frequency that you don't have. Once we were all connected to the all of the infinite, but when we decided to materialize on this physical plane, we descended ourselves into the realm of illusion and separated ourselves from the infinite. So we spend a large part of our lives just trying to feel whole again. Hence why we seek to want to materialize things, because we think it's going to make us feel whole. But when you come to the recognition that behind every desire that you have is no more than a feeling, you just want to feel something you never felt before. Pause. So even in that girl saying that she wants a threesome, maybe that's something she said she's never felt before. Or maybe it has. But in of itself, one thing that you need to come to a recognition of, whether it's a toothpick, whether it's a burger, whether it's a smoothie, whether it's a certain amount of money, whether it's a house, whether it's a yacht, whether it's a boat, whether it's a deal being closed, the only reason you want those things is because there's a feeling unconsciously that you're desiring. But it's the fact that you're unconscious about that feeling that you then merge your association with the desire for you wanting the thing itself rather than how it's going to make you feel. But when you come to the recognition that you just want to feel differently, then we can come to the conclusion that it's not the thing that you want a different feeling. Ironically, if the attainment of that desired reality would lead to you feeling different, then you feeling different will lead to the attainment of that desired reality. And that's how you let go. You let go by coming to the realization that it's not about the money. You think it's about the money, but it's not. It's about how the money would make you feel upon you materializing it, which is secure, which is safe, which is comfortable. It's not materializing the person that you want, which would make you feel cherished, supported, and loved. It's the feelings itself that you want. You don't want the person. It's not the career promotion that you want. It's the recognition that you want. It's the confidence. It's the status. It's the appreciation. And because all of those things are feelings, you have the capability of cultivating it with your imagination through the process that I've given throughout this video. And the more that you do that, the easier it's going to be letting go. And when I say let go, that's when you internally shift to a degree to which you're no longer emotionally dependent upon seeing reality change. When you're good with it and you're good without it. And it's only when you're good with it and you're good without it that it will materialize. And unfortunately, a lot of the time, we're good with things, but we're not good without them. And the only reason you're not good without it is because your subconscious mind hasn't been convinced that you already have it. But when your subconscious mind is convinced that you already have it, then you'll be good with it and you'll be good without it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the step-by-step blueprint to manifesting whatever it is that you desire.
Oh shit, I forgot I started recording. I need to get into my good guy act.
Let me roam your body freely. I don't know what I'm gonna draw. Why the hell should I draw, baby? Why I look like a Google Pixel?
Here, my man.
AJ, I don't know what to draw.